Okay, so this sweet girl is Daisy. She is one of the puppies that we have decided to keep back for some training. Her family is on vacation, so we told them that we would keep her back and train her for them so that they could take home a trained puppy, because a lot of people want to buy puppies, but they just don't want to deal with all of the puppy stuff. So we're going to share a couple of our training tips today and how we trained her. You can see that she's super happy, she's super loving. She's one of our Murphy puppies. She's from Murphy's last litter. So
Truffle.
Yep. So we're really excited. My Murphy puppies are so easy to train, so we're really excited. Okay, so when we start our puppies on training, I don't care what the puppy is, our first thing that we do is teach them leash manners, because they learn that give and release with pressure, which I really like. So we use slip leads. The way that they work is they just have a little hoop, and then your lead part, it goes through it, and it tightens as you need to for the dog. So if they pull on the leash, it pulls back. So I like these also for safety, because if I have a dog and I'm out walking it and it's a dog that I'm not very familiar with and it slips its collar, it's gonna, one, get away from me, and two, it has a chance of getting hit by a car. So for safety, I always encourage people to use slip leads, because if the dog pulls, you're not gonna slip a collar, this is gonna tighten. And it will also teach them that if they pull, they get pressure. If they are good and by your side, there's no pressure. So Daisy has been started on leash training. So you'll see how well she responds to the leash. Come here, Daisy. Daisy, here. So Daisy barely even needs any pulling from me. Good girl. Come. Good girl. Sit. Good job. She really likes the sit command. This is her favorite. Come here. She knows she gets snacks when she sits. Come here, Daisy.
I wish I got snacks when I sat.
But you can see that as I'm walking her, she's not giving me any pressure. She's a little slow because she wants to do snacks and sit. But ultimately, if I'm walking, she's just coming right with me. She doesn't want that pressure. And if she stops, all I have to do is barely tug on this leash and she comes to me. Daisy, sit. Good girl. So Daisy is 11 weeks old. Her litter mate, well, I guess it's not her litter mate, but one of my other puppies that we're training is doing some crate training, so she's kind of whining in the background. Daisy, here. Okay, and then another command that we introduced to them is place. Daisy, place. Good girl. Daisy, come. Good girl. Good girl. Sit. Good girl. Good girl, Daisy.
So when you're working with your dogs, Camry, just what she did is she connected. She gave eye contact to Daisy, gave a nice pat on the head so the dog knows, yes, I'm working with you and I'm getting that connection. It's really important to connect with your puppy.
So your dog's attention is where they're looking. So if I'm telling them to do a command, even if they do that command, but they're looking across the room, they're not focused on me and what I'm trying to teach them. They're doing what I'm telling them, but they're half focused. And especially when you're working with a puppy that's under, 6 months old, you really want their full attention when you're working with them. Hi, sweetie. Perfect. So after we do some leash walking, that's how we start every training session. I always like to do some fun for a minute before we go to basic obedience. So I'll take her slip lead off. Daisy, sit. Sit. Get it.
Oh, yes.
Good girl, Daisy. Bring it back. Come in. Good girl. Sit. Sit. I always make her sit before I give her the reward, hey, which is her toy. She broke the squeaker. Daisy, sit. Sit. Daisy, get it. Come here, Daisy. Here. Good, Daisy. Good girl. Sit. Sit. Drop it. Drop. Good. Good. And I always want to praise them when I tell them drop it and they do drop it. Even if I have to help a little bit, sit. Daisy, sit. Hey, sit. Another thing that we've worked on with Daisy is teaching her space manners. So she has learned that if I'm sitting here on the ground, she keeps her feet on the ground. Her feet don't come and get in my lap. Daisy. Good girl. Sit. Daisy, sit. Get it. Good girl. Daisy has a really natural instinct to fetch, which is really nice. I didn't really have to teach her to bring it back. She just naturally has that instinct. Sit. Some puppies, you have to encourage it. You have to throw the toy, make it really fun, and when they bring it back to you, trade them for a treat so that they know that when they bring something back to you, they get a reward. For Daisy, the reward is that I throw it again, which shows that she has a really strong retrieving drive. Okay, so the next command that we are starting with Daisy, she's started to get a little familiar with it, is lay down. So I always like to do it on a surface where they're above so that when I teach the command, I can lure them a little bit easier. So Daisy, down, down, down. Good girl. And I like that full down where they are all the way down. It's not a partial down, it's all the way down. And so the trick to keeping them up on a ledge is that, sit, Daisy, sit, sit, is that I can pull that lure down, down, down. I can pull it all the way down so that I can get them to go all the way. And then it also keeps them really focused. She doesn't have anywhere to go except toward me. So Daisy, sit, sit, down, down. Good girl. So this is Daisy's only third time working on down. So she's doing really, really good. Sit, sit, sit. Good girl. Okay, Daisy, down, down. Good girl. Okay, so the next command that we're gonna start with on Daisy is stay. She's done this a few times, not a ton. I usually start stay. What I do right here is we have this little banister and I will put them on place and I'll actually tie their lead to here and I will tell them sit and stay and I'll walk away and they can't come to me if they're on place and I have them kind of there. Then I come back and I reward them. And that's just how it works for me. You can do whatever works for you. But that works really well for me and they grasp it in other concepts as well. Daisy, sit. Daisy, come on. She's tired. We've done a lot of training today. Sit.
And really, you don't want to have your training sessions go too long, like 10 to 15 minutes.
Because then they get bored and they start not performing. So puppies have a really short attention span, especially, you know, Daisy's 11 weeks old. Sit down. Sit.
That was so cute.
Stay. Stay. At. Stay. Okay, Daisy, come. Good girl. Sit. And as you can see, she's already starting to do an automatic sit when she comes to me. Daisy, stay. Hey. And I also teach my dogs voice and hand commands because if they ever go blind or deaf, I want them to still be able to communicate with me. And so as you can see, all I had to do was my sit command for Daisy and she sat. The other reason I like it is because if I'm out in public, especially when I have like my service dogs out that we're working with, I'm able to give, if I'm talking to somebody or doing something, I can give them a command and they know what I'm saying to them and I don't have to be rude to the people that I'm talking to. I don't have to interrupt our conversation to go to my service dog. Stay. Daisy, come. Daisy, come. And sometimes with stay, the biggest problem you have is they learn to stay so good that they won't come. So I always want coming to me to be a positive thing. So whenever they do come and they don't break that stay, I always reward it with a treat. We're gonna try down, not up, elevated, and see how she does. Down, 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 down. So you can see that it took her a little bit longer. She still did it, but I wasn't able to lure her down beneath the floor, so she wasn't luring as well. Daisy, come. Daisy, come. Come here. Come here. Sit. Down. 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 See how she's not all the way flat like she was up there? She's got her leg tucked underneath. Down. Good girl. Good girl. So this ledge helps perfect that down. so that I'm able to get her with both front feet out and down. And that's just something that I'm picky about, because when you go to teach rollover and things like that, if you're doing trick training, if their legs tucked underneath them, it's a lot harder to lure them to do like a rollover and stuff than it is if both legs are out in front. Roll over.
Oh, she's gonna get it.
Roll over. Come on.
It's the wild.
Roll away. Good girl.
You did it, girlfriend. You did it. Amazing.
We like all of our
thank
dogs
you.
to be able to get their trick dog titles. So that's something that's important in our foundation training, is setting them up to be able to succeed with trick dogs. Daisy, come here. Sit. 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 Good girl. Okay. Do you want to play? Do you want to play? Daisy, go get it. Good girl. Bring it here. And then I'll reward her with a snack as replacement for her toy. Another reason that I do this is because sit. We can do a whole other video on resource guarding, but we can dab into it with puppies. Sit. Whenever you take something from a dog that is their resource, you always want to replace it with something else. Daisy, drop it, drop it. Because if you don't, and they worry that you or your child or another dog is going to take their resource, they'll start doing something called resource guarding, which means they growl, they bite, they snap. We don't want that to happen, especially when we have young kids at home, or even you. You don't want your dog to snap at you. So this is a way that they learn. Get it, get it. You didn't see it? Here, ready? Sit, sit. This is a way that they learn from the beginning. If they bring something to me, or if I take something to them, I will give them something in return. They're never gonna go without toys. They're never gonna go without food. There's always more toys, there's always more treats, there's always more food. Sit, down, down, down. Good girl. Can you do a rollover? Come on, let's try. Come on, let's do it. Come on. Here, ready? Over. Come on. Come on. Over. 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 Good girl. Good girl, Daisy. Good. So as soon as she stepped in my lap, I corrected that behavior. I don't want her feet in my lap unless I invite her in my lap. So boundaries are so important with puppies, and that's a boundary that I teach her that she can't cross. So next, we're gonna pull out a puppy that is 9 weeks old. She's not one of our puppies. I just have her for 2 or 3 days for watching her. And Nicole is going to show her practicing the down command on an elevated table, because she hasn't done that before. I don't know if her owners have worked on down with her, but we've never done it on an elevated table. So it would be a good opportunity to kind of show some raw footage of what teaching them.